Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Atma Occult, and thank you for joining us today live. So as many of you might have seen, there was a carjacking in Los Angeles the other night. And we actually we happened to be watching the news, and all of a sudden we saw it taking place live. So we were like, oh, this is interesting. Let's check this out.
Pull up the astrology.
Yeah, and we were watching the whole police chase, and we were just curious what the astrological factors were going on in that moment.
So we'll show you what we pulled up. So when we looked at the timing of this event, some astrological factors really stood out to us, and we're sharing those observations here. This is in no way a deep dive at all. We're not analyzing the chart on many different layers or levels. We're just showing you some of the things that we saw right on the surface. So this is the chart for 11:47 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in Los Angeles, California.
At this moment, the anchor on the news channel stated that they had just passed the 1 hour mark from when the original carjacking had taken place, and when the police started the chase. So that means that the event, as far as we know, started probably around 10:47 p.m. in LA.
So if you look at the bottom of this chart here, it says that the ascendant had just shifted into the sign of Aries at 10:37 p.m. on that night. So right before this carjacking and subsequent police chase took place, the ascendant had just changed to Aries. And Aries, actually, in Vedic astrology specifically, is known as the most violent and impulsive sign. And it looks like the entire police chase from start to finish actually took place with the sign of Aries predominating over the eastern horizon. Because it was not long after the chase ultimately ended that the sign shifted to Taurus, and the suspects successfully got away from the police, and I think they're still looking for them. I think that they have not found them yet. During this time, the lagna lord Mars was also placed in the 6th house of conflicts.
Another thing that really stood out to us is how the nature of this police chase, this car chase, can help anyone understand the sign of Aries, for better or worse. So if you saw the way that the carjackers were driving in this police chase and they were evading the police, it was really extremely impulsive. This is something we can see when an Aries person kind of snaps. They get into this kind of red zone where there really isn't a past, there's not really a future to consider, they're just barreling forward. And we don't know if the suspects are, in this case, personally a an Aries lagna. But you can see this Aries-like behavior playing out. They even drove straight into oncoming traffic at many times during this chase, like going the opposite way down a one-way.
So one of the other things we noticed was something we mentioned recently in one of our videos, which is that according to some astrological traditions, a conjunction between Venus and Jupiter, and this is happening almost in, it's right here it's saying Venus was at 18 degrees and Jupiter was at 19, but if you look more closely at the actual degrees of the planets, they are within 1 degree from one another. And when this happens, there are certain texts that say that this is a time when it is easier to gain control over a love interest or get the attention of the masses. And at first glance, that might seem like something that is totally unrelated to this situation. But if you think about it for a second and think about what's actually being said there, what they're saying is that Jupiter, which is the planet which allows one to get control over something, Jupiter represents controlling things, is conjunct Venus, which is the planet which represents romantic interests or courting the masses, being famous in some ways. And Venus also represents many other things, which you can extrapolate from that. For example, vehicles. In this case, it was even white vehicles both times. So unknowingly, this carjacker actually picked a time when taking control of any vehicle would be astrologically much easier than any other time.
So the moon, as the fourth lord of vehicles, was in the 11th house of gains in Shatabisha Nakshatra, which is a nakshatra related to chasing and being chased. It was also conjunct Rahu, which is the planet of criminality. So like we said, this was not a deep dive, but there were some very interesting astrological factors that we noticed that were clearly playing a part in this event. So let us know what you think of all of this in the comments below. Did you happen to notice anything that also might have played a role when this event was taking place?
As always, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if you found this content interesting, consider making a donation to support our channel by following the link in the description of this video.